hear anyone. My apologies.
So I guess we need to take a vote if we want to the river crossing regional. Is that
I mean, I'm happy to leave it there until we get to the policy committee meeting, but
Okay.
I'm alerting this body to the fact that I don't think that project is going to be ready in time for this round of small scale. However, if Matthew is proposing that we do something about that, then I need a request from not just Matthew, I need you all to weigh in and tell me, please go and do X and Y.
I'm not proposing necessarily, but I don't feel like we've provided a full amount of information to make that decision.
Paul?
So my thought is I think it should stay on the list for now and it should go to the policy committee. You should have this discussion there.
And I think they need a cost for work.
Yeah, I say one thing, may not get scored, it may just get screened out if it does not have a proper estimate. In fact, that's probably likely what will
Is that what they've said?
We'd have to look at each application to see. So I don't think say now wholesale screening out, we would review what's being submitted. And I understand the point that Matt is making about the money spent to get to where you are. And our very good one, path forward for it to get more information so that it's being applied for real structure. The 30% plans. That happens.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I guess just trying to understand a little bit better on my side is the thought right now is there has not been enough effort put into the cost estimate and design, and more than likely because of that, it would screen out. And VDOT/OIB requires 30%-ish work plans go into it in full NEPA before it gets went smart scale.
I don't know that 30% plans in NEPA is an accurate statement.
Okay.
I think where, and I don't want to put words in Ian's mouth, but I think where some of those conversations may have been for that, if the alignment is not known and you're doing the corridor, then from a cost estimation standpoint, you have to estimate the most expensive option that could be realistically the result of that. And then that may or may not be what was presented in the study. So then it's maybe doing an estimate for, something a little bit different from that. And then I think the expectation would be that the estimate matches what the graphics are, which again, may or may not be in complete alignment with what the locally preferred alternative is. It just is not very clear to have forward from that stuff too. And I think there is a real concern with what happens if it is funded, not enough money to complete it. And get that. Okay, so I think we've seen any smart scale project. I think we would all agree here that we would love to have plans that were pretty far along. It'd be great to have right away, but that's not realistically where these applications come in. But for the smaller projects, it's a little easier to have that cushion. Larger ones, that percentage of contingency be up there. They be very
We will be able to submit all 10 of those projects for pre-application. One or more may be screened out. We will then have to make a decision ourselves to remove 2 projects anyway.
To the final
Right.
for the
So,
final application.
so I think some of the hesitancy on VDOT's part maybe, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, feel free to disagree, is that if we do a very large effort now to get this project in a format that it doesn't screen out, and we then vote to remove it anyway, it's a lot of wasted effort and money on a corridor that we don't have confirmed. The Army Corps of Engineers has to confirm that that corridor is the best to use. And they don't do that outside of NEPA. They will get involved during NEPA. So we can't, it's not like we forgot to approach them. It's like if they had to get involved in every planning level study in the United States, they wouldn't be able to do their job. So as the project gets closer to finality, they get involved because now we've got a mega project and it's got to the level where they have to weigh in. It's not like anybody forgot to call them. We even invited the federal authorities to that stakeholder meeting that was state and federal bodies, where we got the letter from the Virginia, I forget what the department's called, the environmental department. DCR. They formally wrote to us their response after that call, and we invited all those bodies to that meeting to talk about this project and to get their input. But it's just, I think the federal bodies and the Army Corps of Engineers don't get involved until the project is like in NEPA. Now we have to give our official opinion.
Question. We're not talking about putting a different project on the list, right?
No.
Yeah, too late to do that. So the decision point is whether we try to do additional work to get it ready, potentially screen in, or do we just call it now? The decision. But to Paul's point, let Paul's have this discussion.
I think that's fine. I'm just putting up a flag now because I don't want us to move forward not knowing the information as to what is required to have a realistic chance at getting smart scale funding. Where we are today, we don't have a realistic chance.
So this is just a suggestion. If for some reason, if the policy committee takes the Rappahannock River crossing project off the list, one thing that could be done is I-95 could be put on GWC as well. So it could be on both. It would be the fifth option for both of those. So if any one of those four projects does not, cannot be submitted for whatever reason, then I-95 is definitely eligible. That could be submitted. Then you would definitely have 5 pre-applications on both.
I'll confirm if that is done. I know in the past there was an issue with 2 applicants' final application. I don't know if it was a pre-app, same issue, but we can check.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue on the pre-app. It's on the final app, yeah.
Student, so. Check.
I mean, personally, now I'm talking as Ian, not as Fampo. I mean, personally, I think it also doesn't have any chance of getting funding, but that's what it is.
I think the main purpose of having it on the list is it shows basically that the region still considers it a priority to the state. And with that project, I think eventually what's going to happen is it's going to be funded in some other way. Maybe with federal funding, maybe basically the state, basically with the monies they have from the I-81 toll bill, maybe some other way. But the congestion and basically the safety situation is worsening for that area. Something that's going to eventually have to be done, just like it was for the northbound river crossing. And I'll say from Spotsylvania's perspective, that's the most important issue in the region. And basically the state did a great job with the $1 billion in investment with FredX and the river crossings to the north. But this is the last piece to invest the exit 148 and 126 that needs to be funded out of that plan that basically was developed several years ago by Famco.
Eddie?
So Paul, you said this is the most important project for you all? Is that 95?
We would view it as the most important regional project.
Okay. How much money did you guys put towards your side?
So we are supposed to build grants. I guess I would ask when Stafford, how much money Stafford put towards the river crossing?
I just asked about our project.
We're trying to go for the build grant.
Thank you.
We're funding the work for that.
All right. You all set on this stuff?
Yeah. Good, and any other ideas between now and I guess the policy committee?
Do we need to vote on this?
Don't think so, because we were just looking for any name changes,
Yeah,
if anything is
I did,
coming on or off, right? So we're proceeding and we'll see what happens. Thank you, Gary. Next, Commonwealth Transportation Board, Transportation Alternatives Policy Recommendations. Yes. Joel, Kathy.
So this was we had several requests from people to just discuss TAP applications. I think some of the answers were emailed around, but if anybody wants to raise any question now, they're free to do so, and if VDOT can handle any questions, that would be great. The reason FAMPO is not as well versed on the TAP program as we are on the others is that we as FAMPO are virtually not an applicant ever. FAMPO decided before my time that part of the agreement that was struck to deal with concerns raised sort of 5-6 years ago was that the FAMPO TAP project would always be a project connected to the TMA North Stafford. And so FAMPO has stayed out of preparing any TAP applications since then. We have never gotten involved. So because of that, we have not spent a long time studying the scoring process of the TAP application. We are not well on the scoring of the TAP application because we never submit a project ever. We usually just endorse a project that Stafford chooses for the North TMA. For the general TAP funding, we are automatically not an applicant. So FAMPO does not get to apply in the general fund. FAMPO only ever gets to submit one project in the MPO specific fund. And there's an agreement between the FAMPO jurisdictions that that particular application will always go to the TMA North Stafford. So that's why we are not versed on it. So we can't give you a detailed briefing on how the scoring occurs at TAP. VDOT can give comments that they know about the program, but we don't.
If there's specific questions. And we'll note that the scoring is part of the TAC process, that information is provided to the CCD members, but it is not defining thing that there is no required funded specific to it. So they do at the suite of projects with information like the scores and area specifics on the project. They will review those things and to see how they want to distribute the funds that they have. Cassie did share some of the information from CTP presentation. Okay.
Well, okay, so what was confusing about the CT was that they had a list of all of the localities that were deemed for having passed council project, and Fredericksburg was not on that list.
But that's not what the list
Confused,
was.
right?
So the list was for the localities that were identified in the LSPP. So that is a program view. So that looks at overall locality, regardless of the type of project that it may be. So for the deductions related to cancellation of TAP projects, those were specific to TAP projects. So those were not identified. That list had, and it might not have been labeled clearly, but the flags that were shown on there, those were the LSP So those were the jurisdictions that were identified as being on that specific list. So,
I listened to that.
Right. right, so there are some different things, so that would be, again, the projects are smart scale, the TAC, it's revenue sharing, that's for all of those projects, whereas, they specifically looking on that piece of it as, for the deduction related to cancellations of the projects.
I gave a presentation on that very topic like 3 years ago when that came out.
Wasn't the city's deductions for other projects, not TAPs?
Yeah, those were two
Had
TACs.
two
They were,
projects
okay.
were canceled, but because, as Ian said, we don't follow the TAP program very closely. And Kathy, for a while, there was a whole lot of reasons.
But that, and I think Cassie put in one of the emails that that does not disqualify that project, it doesn't screen it out.
No, but it's second to last in the states. Yeah, get. But. Yeah.
And I think that, the other thing I will put a plug in, I appreciate putting the information. Training or smart scale for that, and we do have those for staff as well. So, and I know that the city, you guys have had some changes in staff, and you're gonna have some more here pretty soon. So, you know, I assume you're gonna be bringing people in, so that would be really good for, you know, and I know Spotsylvania's hired some new folks. So those are really great things, especially for anybody who's newer and may not, have some of the background, but it should also talk about the, changes and updates, so.
Okay.
But I think some of that is discussed in more detail. But again, they have information. The scoring is done as a way to assist the CCD members in allocation.
Any other questions for VDOTs with the policy recommendations? Do we need to vote for this?
No,
No, all right.
it's just folks asked for a discussion, so we put it on the agenda as per the request.
All right. Moving along to staff reports, the LRTP 2055 transportation goals need survey. You can.
So our LRTP 2055 transportation goals and needs survey is now out until the first Friday of March. So that is March 6th, 2026. Of course, for the LRTP 2055 survey, we'd really appreciate all of your help in getting the word out about the survey, just so we can cast as wide a net as possible and get as many people as possible to take the survey, which is very important for such a long range plan, a long range transportation plan even. So we have all of our promotional materials right here, including social media flyers, 2 versions of them, social media text descriptions, including a survey QR code. Please feel free to disseminate this however you want, through social media, or I don't know, sending it out to an email to staff members, putting it on a community board, whatever fits your fancy. We'd like as many people to take this as possible, including the public, as well as you all, including your staff, your coworkers as well. So yeah, if you have any information on other organizations that you think would be helpful in disseminating this survey, then please feel free to let us know. Alternatively, if you feel that you have a very personal connection and can get, you know, really through to your church group or running club or 40-person improv troupe, then feel free to take that into your own hands. It's completely up to you. If you want to send along my information to your communications officers in case they have any questions or comments about disseminating the survey, then feel free to. You have my information. If not, I have a business card that I can send out to anyone who'd like to talk to me after the meeting. Otherwise, I'll take any questions, comments, concerns. If not.
I'd like to just support Eugene, and just ask, can we ask all of our to please send the survey to your jurisdiction's entire staff, not just your planning staff, not just the transportation staff, all the staff, every school teacher, you know, every nurse in the hospital, if they're in a state facility, or where nobody's here from FXB Go, but I was about to say every bus driver, can we get them to fill in the survey, please? So anybody who lives and works in Stafford, the city, and Spotsylvania, we want them to take the survey. We don't want to finish this process and then somebody say, oh, the survey is not representative. Well, now's the time to make it representative. Please do send it to everybody. We don't want just
Send
the
it to police. Yeah.
we just, yes, exactly. We don't send it to the police. We don't just a few in the know to take the survey. We want literally everybody to take the survey.
Thank you. Yes, good directive.
Josh.
Yep.
We forgot to circle back on Smart Scale and the Complete Streets drop.
Yes,
Okay.
Matthew's correct.
All right.
Shall we just finish this
Yeah,
item and then do that
yeah.
afterwards?
Anything else, Eugene, about this? All right, so yeah, go send it out to everybody, send it to your PIO people, communications, police, teachers. Great thoughts. All right, well, going back to Complete Streets then. Rita.
Yeah, I mean, do you all think you need your February smart scale meeting or TAC this?
So my thought is we do not need the meeting for smart scale, and we could do complete streets that time.
I'll second that.
I guess, could we have like a web option for complete streets?
Would be good to have somebody from VDOT and at least one person from each jurisdiction in the room, because we want to try and have like very lively discussions. This is the idea to say, hey, we really think we need a new bike lane through the city of Fredericksburg. And if there's no from the city of Fredericksburg, yes, they can be online, but it's just, slows down the meeting a little bit when you got to wait for someone to unmute themselves and then they can't see the picture properly and all that stuff. Yes. Leader had that list there. We want to establish which are the priority corridors that we want to promote as a region, as these are our great bike and pedestrian paths. Where are they? And then also filling in gaps. So if we see there's a gap, Leader has a great list there. Then, where are the gaps in the network and how should we fill those gaps? Because we want to, as Leader put it, land this plane, right? We want to finish this project well, produce a nice glossy handout that we can show people. This is our future plan for complete streets in the region. And then if and when another funding system is made available federally, we can qualify for those federal funds because we have a plan to submit and ask them to fund. And the new transportation reauthorization bill, we're expecting to be approved in Congress in August. So that's not that far away. And if that bill allocates new funding for non-motorized transportation, we will have a plan to then get those funds.
So we have a motion and a second to have this workshop in place of the Smart Scale. And what's the date and time that we have?
At 1 p.m. according to my calendar.
February the 17th at 1 p.m. in this room.
PM, so that still works for everyone.
And please bring your ideas. So just think about where you would like to, and you can be a little bit speculative too. Like, hey, it would be really great if we could have this new thing.
Okay. All's in favor?
I have, Chairman, one item. I've handed out a printed copy because we got this very late. We attached the agenda. It only came, was it Thursday we got it? I think we got it on Thursday. It's this letter from federal government EPA, this is about our air quality conforming process. When I first read this letter, I was a little nervous because it sounds like we have to do stuff, but actually it's the opposite. We now don't have to do stuff. But this letter is just the official letter confirming that. They did publish a notice in the register. Yeah. Federal Register. So this is just the official letter to us confirming that we do not any longer need to do air quality conformity on our constrained long range plan. That step is now removed. No, it's because of that decision order where the court ruled that the EPA had extended the requirements too far, not in time, but in air quality. They had gone past what the federal legislation required. So they dialed it back to what is required. And what was required for us was that we had the process up until the 31st of December last year. So we've now passed that. Up until that time, we did the air quality process, and we've now completed the requirement. So now we're in like a long-term monitoring. If it gets worse again, then there may be reinstated a process to do that. It wasn't on the agenda, Chair, but we only got it on Thursday, so I just thought I'd share a copy with everybody.
Thank you. All right, moving along to next policy committee meeting. It's going to be held in Stafford County.
Yep.
February 9th at 6.
The reason we put this on this agenda is just to alert you because it's an unusual happening. We always have a policy committee in this room, but the decision was taken to have one this year in Stafford and one in Spotsylvania to make the policy committee more accessible to people in counties.
Noted that, and otherwise, any updates from agencies or other localities?
Go ahead,
Paul.
I'll go after Matthew.
Just want to give an update on our construction projects. Our Stafford Road sidewalk project is under snow right now, but it's 85% complete, I think. So most of the sidewalks done. We're finishing that up pretty soon. So pretty good news there.
Nice.
Very good.
And the courthouse intersection project?
Paul?
So this is a question probably mostly for Ian and Phil. We've gotten some inquiries recently about basically Route 3 with the commuter lots. If OmniRod is planning to have like bus service for their going up to Nova and DC, similar to what they do at Exit 126.
It's funny you should say that. Actually, we have a discussion, internal discussion this week about that. As I'm sure you're aware, that is entirely state funded, state toll road funded routes that we provide in both Botsy and Stafford. And so we would be perhaps looking for another approach. I know that the Gordon Road lot has been one that has been mentioned as potentially a next location, but we are, with the success of the route, the southern, what we call the southern routes from the PRTC side, with the success of those, we are looking at what else we can do about that. And in particular, you know, I can say specifically the discussion has been, does another one compete with the success at say 126? But I think most folks agree, say Gordon Road, for example, is far enough away. That's not interfering with commute patterns. If you're a 126 exiter person, you're probably not coming over to Route 3, all that. So those are the deliberations that are going on. But our intention is to try to apply for that if it makes some sense, and to perhaps add something on Route 3. Definitely talk more if you'd like to.
That's great.
Now, if only we had that river crossing bridge, you could pick people up at the Gordon Road lot, cross the bridge, pick people up at the US 17 lot, and then get on 995.
Any back road in this area that you could you could do a variety of different things. We could talk a little later.
We're going to ask you for a letter of support for the bill grant.
Sure.
Because it could be used for buses.
Yeah, we'll put our,
You would propose
Better head up.
bus only.
I mean,
All right, any other updates? All right, if none, then.
the Route 3 bump outs, found a contractor here. 2 months.
So it's the date that our construction said we're, well, for the construction. So if you know any contractors that you think would want that job, let me know.
A single one. And I also know that they have to be pre-qualified with VDOT, so finding a new one is.
But they revisited some of the a little bit easier work. Small concrete work. That the concrete. There were tweaks to the contract, but no.
In the VCR trail project, that includes my bridge, the Hazel Run Bridge. Is that anywhere near going out to contract?
Someone's working on some of the
So this is just the first point on the bump outs. There is a developer that's thinking about kind of constructing kind of the bump out improvement at Bragg Road. I'm not sure if that's made it to you yet, but that's okay. Right. Not sure if it'll work out or if that'll help. That's something to watch.
Sounds like we're taking them away over here and putting them back there, which is a little weird. Okay.
All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn our next meeting on March 2nd, 2026.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.